From the very beginning of human history, water has been the silent architect of prosperity. Long before currencies, corporations, or borders existed, rivers and seas decided where people settled, how societies grew, and which civilizations would rise above others. When we observe the modern global economy, a powerful pattern emerges that stretches back thousands of years. Countries located near water consistently hold economic advantages over those without it. This is not a coincidence, nor is it simply geography. It is the cumulative result of how water shapes food production, trade, technology, political power, and human behavior across generations. Early humans were nomadic, constantly moving in search of food. But permanent settlement became possible only where water was reliable. Rivers provided drinking water, fish, fertile soil, and transportation. The predictable flooding of rivers like the Nile, Tigris, Euphrates, Indus, and Yellow River allowed early societies to practice agriculture on a large scale. Farming near rivers produced consistent food surpluses, which fundamentally changed human life. When food becomes abundant, societies grow larger, healthier, and more stable. Surplus food supports population growth, and population growth allows specialization. Farmers feed craftsmen, craftsmen support traders, traders create wealth, and administrators organize society. Water made civilization scalable. Agriculture near water also created economic resilience. Drought-prone or landlocked regions were vulnerable to famine, while river-based societies could recover more quickly. This stability encouraged long-term planning, construction, and governance. Temples, storage systems, roads, and early financial systems emerged in water-rich regions. Over centuries, this stability compounded into wealth. Societies near water did not just survive longer. They accumulated knowledge and institutional memory that strengthened them over time. Transportation is one of the most underestimated reasons. Water creates wealth. Before modern technology, moving goods over land was extremely expensive and slow. A cart pulled by animals could carry only a limited load and required roads, labor, and time. Rivers and seas changed everything. A boat could carry enormous quantities of goods using minimal energy. This made trade cheaper, faster, and safer. Regions connected by water were no longer isolated. They could exchange goods, ideas, technologies, and cultures. Trade networks expanded, and wealth followed those networks. As trade expanded, coastal access became a decisive advantage. Coastal societies could interact with distant regions without crossing hostile territory. The Mediterranean Sea became a commercial superhighway for ancient civilizations. The Phoenicians mastered maritime trade and established colonies across vast distances. Greek city-states prospered by trading olive oil, wine, and art across the sea. The Roman Empire built its dominance on controlling maritime trade routes, ensuring that grain, soldiers, and resources could move efficiently across its vast territory. The sea unified empires in ways land never could. Water also created cities, and cities created wealth. Urban centers formed where trade routes met rivers or coastlines. These cities attracted merchants, scholars, and laborers. With density came innovation. Markets formed, banking systems developed, contracts emerged, and laws were standardized. Cities like Venice, Constantinople, Alexandria, and later Amsterdam and London owed their rise to water-based trade. These cities became financial and cultural engines whose influence reached far beyond their borders. The age of exploration transformed water access into global dominance. Nations with strong coastlines and navigational expertise gained unprecedented power. Portugal and Spain used ocean routes to connect continents. Britain and the Netherlands built empires not through land conquest alone, but through naval strength and trade control. Ports became centers of global exchange. Raw materials flowed in, finished goods flowed out, and wealth accumulated at an accelerating pace. Inland nations lacking direct access to these routes struggled to compete. Water also enabled industrialization. During the Industrial Revolution, Rivers powered early factories, transported coal and iron, and connected manufacturing centers to ports. Britain's geography, short rivers, accessible ports, and proximity to coal gave it a massive advantage. Industrial goods could be produced efficiently and exported globally. Later, countries like Germany, Japan, and the United States followed similar patterns, using rivers and coastlines to integrate manufacturing with global markets. Even today, in a digital world, water remains central to economic power. Nearly 90% of global trade is transported by sea. Container ships carry food, fuel, electronics, and vehicles across oceans at costs no other system can match. Ports are economic lifelines. Countries with efficient ports attract multinational companies, logistics hubs, and investment. Singapore is a modern example of how water access can overcome resource scarcity. With almost no natural resources, it turned that strategic location into extraordinary wealth. Water also shapes national security and political influence. Maritime nations historically enjoy greater protection and flexibility. Navies protect trade. Routes deter threats and project power globally. Control of sea lanes often determines global influence. This security encourages economic stability, which attracts investment and innovation. Landlocked countries, by contrast, often depend on neighbors for access to ports, increasing costs and vulnerability. This dependence limits growth and increases political risk. Beyond economics and security, water influences culture and mindset. Societies engaged in maritime trade tend to be outward-looking. They encounter different cultures, languages, and ideas. This exposure fosters adaptability, tolerance, and innovation. Over centuries, these cultural traits become embedded in institutions such as legal systems, financial markets, and education. These institutions reinforce economic growth and resilience. Water-connected societies often develop stronger commercial traditions and entrepreneurial cultures. However, water alone does not guarantee success. Geography offers opportunity, but human choices determine outcomes. Some regions with excellent water access fail due to corruption, conflict, or poor governance. Meanwhile, countries that invested in infrastructure, education, and fair institutions transform water access into long-term prosperity. The Netherlands exemplifies this balance. Much of the country lies below sea level, yet through engineering, trade, and planning, it turned water from a threat into an asset. Canals, ports, and flood control systems became engines of wealth. Technology has not eliminated geography, it has amplified it. Modern shipping, global supply chains, and digital commerce still rely on the physical movement of goods. Ports remain critical. Coastal megacities dominate global finance and trade. Even data centers and energy infrastructure often cluster near water due to cooling and transport needs. Geography continues to shape economic outcomes, even in the age of information. Looking at the world today, the pattern persists. Many of the wealthiest countries and regions are coastal or river-connected. This does not mean landlocked nations are doomed, but it does mean they face higher barriers. Overcoming those barriers requires extraordinary coordination, innovation, and cooperation. Water reduces friction. It lowers costs. It multiplies opportunity. Over thousands of years, those advantages compound. Ultimately, the story of why countries near water become rich is not mystical or accidental. It is deeply human. Water enables cooperation, exchange, stability, and growth. It rewards planning and punishes isolation. Civilizations that learned to harness rivers and seas built systems that endured. Those systems evolved into modern economies, financial institutions, and global networks. Wealth did not appear overnight. It accumulated through centuries of advantage layered upon advantage. Understanding this pattern allows us to see global inequality not as random fate, but as the result of geography interacting with human decisions over time. Water is not destiny, but it is a powerful multiplier. And as long as humans continue to trade, travel, and connect across the planet, water will remain one of the most important foundations of prosperity, shaping nations just as it has since the dawn of civilization.